On the night of 25th June 1975, India witnessed one of the most controversial constitutional moments in its democratic history, the declaration of emergency. Fundamental rights were suspended, opposition leaders were arrested, and press freedom was curtailed. Hello everyone, my name is Rajni Jha. Welcome to Drishti IAS. This is the Polity Simplified Series where we discuss the concepts of polity in such a way that it becomes a piece of cake for you. Let's get started. So today we are going to talk about national emergency. I'll tell you the background, grounds of declaration, what kind of approval it requires, how it can be revoked, and its effects. So let's talk about the background first. In India, 25th June is historically associated with declaration of national emergency. Why is that? On 25th June 1975, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi advised President to declare an emergency under Article 352 of the Indian Constitution. And this emergency lasted for 21 months, from 25th June 1975 to 21st March 1977. So the question is, why was emergency declared? Official reason that was given was internal disturbance threatening national security. But what kind of internal disturbances? Now in 1973-74, economic crisis happened. What kind of economic crisis? There was high inflation, unemployment, food shortages, and in general there was public dissatisfaction. This led to students' protest in Gujarat and Bihar in 1974, demanding resolution to this situation and against corruption. Then JP movement started. JP is Jai Prakash Narayan. He started the movement. Jai Prakash Narayan called for total revolution, that is Sampurn Kranti, and he demanded reform in politics and removal of corruption. Therefore, he became the face of anti-government movement. Then came Allahabad court verdict against Indira Gandhi, which said that Indira Gandhi in 1971 misused government machinery in 1971 elections. So this invalidated her election itself. After that, opposition demanded resignation. And at the same time, JP rally started at Ramlila Maidan as well after this. And this rally at Ramlila Maidan was seen as the challenge to authority by the government. Government felt that their authority is being challenged, due to which emergency was declared on the night of 25th June 1975. If you really think about it, this was not a big issue. Obviously, the elections were invalidated, so everybody will protest. But the national emergency was declared, saying that right now there is internal disturbance in country. Now what happened during emergency was fundamental rights were curtailed, press was censored, opposition leaders who were demanding resignation were arrested, elections were postponed, and there was large-scale preventive detention under MISA, which is Maintenance of Internal Security Act. Preventive detention is when a person is detained or arrested on simply a suspicion that he may or may not commit a crime. So if there is a suspicion that the person may commit a crime, then also he or she can be detained or arrested under this. Now, of course, this was highly misused during that time. And because all these things happening were so unjust, the government of India recently designated this 25th June as Samvidhan Hatya Divas to commemorate or mark the anniversary of this emergency and reflect on constitutional values. Now the question arises, what types of emergency provisions are there in our constitution? First of all, these emergency provisions were inspired partly by the Weimar Constitution of Germany, and you need to remember this for your prelims fact, as you know that Indian Constitution borrowed a lot of features from different constitutions of the world. So prelims questions are usually asked from this part. This is specifically given in Lakshmikant as well. So in the Constitution of India, there are three types of emergency provisions which are present in the part 18th of the Constitution under Articles 352 to 360. Now, how I remembered it was, generally we keep forgetting the parts. So imagine in your house, in a general house, when a child turns 18, the child is considered an adult and the child starts taking his own decisions, his or her own decisions. In that case, the family sort of thinks it's an emergency situation because especially in middle class families, parents decide everything for you. So it happens when the child turns 18. That's how you can remember these emergency provisions also, that this is also present in the part 18th of the Constitution under Article 352 to 360. Now in Article 352, there is national emergency, which usually happens in times of war, external aggression and armed rebellion. In Article 356, there is state emergency or precedence rule, which happens when the government machinery fails, meaning the state is not able to follow constitution well. And Article 360 is financial emergency, when the financial crisis happens nationwide, all over India. So how can you remember these also? See, this was happening in the wartime. This was happening because government machinery failed. And this happened because money crisis or financial crisis. So you can remember, during war times, government requires money. It's quite obvious. There are a lot of expenses. And in this order, you can remember these emergency provisions also. This is national emergency 352 plus 4. This is state emergency 356 plus 4. This is financial emergency 360. All right. The next is, what are the grounds for declaration? So grounds for declaration is war, external aggression and armed rebellion. If you notice here, now the term armed rebellion is used in place of internal disturbance, and the reason for it is, as we have seen in the background, that this term was misused. This term is so vague that this term can be misused even now. So let's say students are protesting, farmers are protesting, or people are protesting against inflation. All of them can be called internal disturbance. So this was so vague that it was very easy to misuse it, which is why it was replaced with armed rebellion, which means forceful, violent protest. So here there will be force, violence and arms, meaning guns, etc. And this was done in Amendment 44th Amendment of the Constitution of India in 1978. Now the question arises, how many times national emergency is imposed? So it is 3 times. In 1962, during Sino-Indian War, in 1971, during Indo-Pakistan War, and in 1975, the infamous internal emergency. The next question arises, what is the procedure to declare emergency? So President can declare emergency on the written advice of Cabinet. Now again, this part is very important because before 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, even simply Prime Minister could tell the President to declare emergency and that would have been sufficient. But now, because it was misused, now the written advice is required of the Cabinet after 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, the Cabinet itself. So in Cabinet, there is Prime Minister and there are other senior ministers. For example, Finance Ministers, Home Minister, then External Minister, External Affairs Minister. So there are senior ministers as well along with Prime Minister here. Now, the written advice is important for emergency to be declared by the President. Then the second is, of course, for anything to happen in our country, we require approvals. There is parliamentary approval which is required, which must be approved by both the houses of the Parliament. Again, an important point for prelims, both the houses of the Parliament within 1 month. All right. And it is done by special majority. If you study majority, we have special majority and simple majority. For emergency to be declared, we require special majority by both the houses. What is special majority? In this is Article 368. In this, majority of total membership of the House is required, along with two-thirds of members present and voting. So for example, right now, the current strength of Lok Sabha is 543 members. So first condition is half of 543 plus 1. So more than 50%. It will come in point to point. We will round it off to get more than 50%. Then two-thirds of members present and voting. Now let's say today there are only 500 members present. So two-thirds of 500. Both these conditions must be fulfilled for emergency to be approved. All right. Next is, how long can it continue for? Initially, it continues for 6 months at a time. Then it can continue indefinitely. It can be extended indefinitely forever. But every 6 months, parliamentary approval is required. How can it be revoked? It can be revoked by 2 ways. First, by President, anytime. This of course requires the advice of Cabinet. And second, by Lok Sabha. If Lok Sabha passes resolution disapproving emergency, now this is done by simple majority, not simple majority, right? This is not done by special majority. What is simple majority? more than 50% of present and voting. That's it. So in order to declare emergency, you need special majority. To continue, you need special majority. But to revoke, Lok Sabha has to pass the resolution simply by simple majority. Now, there was one more thing done after 44th Amendment, which was if 1/10 of Lok Sabha members say that we should talk about it, they demand, then a special sitting will be held. It must be held where this idea that emergency should be revoked will be talked about and discussed. It will not be revoked immediately, but at least this idea will be talked about. All right. Next, its effects on center and state relations. So, of course, during national emergency, center becomes very strong. Parliament can legislate even on the state list, and executive power of center extends over state. So, basically, center becomes very strong. Union government becomes very strong during national emergency. What are the effects on fundamental rights? So, here there are two articles that you must know, which is Article 358 and Article 359. According to Article 358, anytime national emergency happens, in the case of war and external aggression, Article 19, which is right to freedom of speech and expression, this gives us 6 rights. This will be automatically suspended. But this only happens when emergency is declared in the case of war and external aggression, not in the case of armed rebellion. Next is Article 359. For this, presidential order is required. Without this, Article 359 will not come into effect. And what does it say? President can suspend right to move to court for enforcement of fundamental rights. So that means if president issues an order and enforces this, in this case, maybe you have your rights on paper, but if they are violated, you will not be able to move to court against it. All right. All right. Next, it's very important. Again, happened in Amendment 44th Amendment to the Constitution of India, that in emergency, Article 20 and 21 will not be suspended. They will remain intact. You have to tell me in the comment section what is Article 20. Article 21 is right to life and personal liberty. You will tell me what is Article 20. All right. Next. Yes. So right now we have our 50% sale going on from 25th to 29th June on all our courses. I'm sure you can benefit a lot from all these. If you want to connect with us, please join and call on this number 87501 87501. And finally, we come to the end of the session. You have to answer this question in the comment section. This is a prelims practice question. Let's see what the question is all about. With reference to the national emergency under Constitution of India, consider the following statements. First, national emergency under Article 352 of the Constitution of India can be declared on the grounds of war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. Second, proclamation of national emergency must be approved by both the houses of the Parliament within 1 month. And third, during national emergency, operation of Article 19 is automatically suspended if emergency is declared on the grounds of war and external aggression. You have to tell me which of these statements is correct. And that brings us to the end of the session. I hope you really enjoyed the lecture. If there are any other concepts also which you want me to explain, please tell me in the comment section below. That's it for today's session. Have a great day ahead.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.